Hello everyone, and welcome to the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined once again this week by JC at the Deluxe Asterisk. Go like his Facebook page at facebook.com/thedeluxeasterisk. This is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. What sets us apart from other wrestling shows out there is, despite how we enjoy discussing professional wrestling and watching professional wrestling, we are not insiders. We try not to use insider terms, and we try not to talk as if, completely as if we are actually in the wrestling business, because at the end of the day, we're not. We're really just two marks. This week, it's going to be kind of a different type of episode. We're going to start with myself and JC, or should be JC and myself. Anyway. Start with our thoughts on Raw and Smackdown, and then this is being taped the night of Dominion, New Japan Pro Wrestling's big summer show in Osaka, with Chris Jericho taking on Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, and Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So, got a big card that's literally hours away from the time of this first recording. So, JC and myself, I got it right that time, going to talk about Raw and Smackdown, and then I will be back later on in the video after Dominion has concluded with my thoughts on some of the card. I may not go out, be able to cover in depth all of the tag matches and stuff, but I'll do my best. For sure, you'll hear my thoughts on the two main events, and we'll just go from there. So bear with us. It's kind of a different type of format this week because of that. Part of that's my fault because I forgot that in Japan they're a day ahead of us, and their June 9th is now. So I thought we could just do a complete Dominion preview and then I could watch it tomorrow night, but no, Dominion is in a couple hours, so throws everything out the window. But enough of that. Let's get on with Raw thoughts. Okay. Yeah, that was Raw. Time for Raw thoughts here, folks. And just a warning, the format's not quite as in order as it happened on Raw, and not really going to talk much about the main event. With Rollins teaming up with Roman. It wasn't a bad match, but just not really something nothing really there to talk about in comparison to these other fun things. But the most fun of them all this week has to be there's a constable. There's a constable of Monday Night Raw right now. And I know what you're thinking if you didn't see Raw. Oh my God! Who could that possibly be? Are they bringing back, somebody from the past? Are they bringing back a Sergeant Slaughter? Perhaps. Mick Foley? Have something fun like that to be the another authority figure on Monday Night Raw? Are they just whoa. Instead, they decided to choose a charisma vacuum known as Baron Corbin to have a speaking authority role on Monday Night Raw.
If you can even call it that, considering what I saw him do, which was just interrupt and cost someone a match because he thought it was funny.
Yeah, and this was brought to light by Kurt Hawkins looking not to lose 200 matches in a row, bringing up a local talent that has the same name as a local basketball player. They were in Houston on this night, so okay. And then promising that if he won, there'd be free tacos for everyone. So Baron Corbin comes out, punches the local talent, causing Kurt Hawkins to lose by disqualification, thus losing 200 matches in a row. But most importantly,
turning over the table full of tacos.
No free tacos.
Now, I will say, in all fairness, there was not enough tacos to feed that many thousands of people. But
You're missing
no one
the
got
point.
any. No one got any. I mean, unless you ate, I mean, like, I would say if I lost 200 matches in a row, I might eat those tacos off the floor. He was right there. Kurt Hawkins might have. I mean, we didn't see when they cut to commercial.
So that brings up a segment in the back where Kurt Angle is confronted by Baron Corbin, who says that Steph McMahon has bestowed the authority of being the constable for checks and balances because of bad Kurt Angle rulings.
Which, once again, when you see that, you pretty much have exactly about the same reaction as Kurt Angle was like, what the hell was that? You know, I mean, I get that, you know, when people are in roles like this, they abuse whatever power they have and they take advantage of stuff and they sometimes just do things as they see fit just because they can. You know, it's not like Steve Austin never did anything like that whenever he was in some kind of, you know, capacity, whether a good guy or a GM or whatever. You know, but still, when you just see that, you scratch your head a little bit and you're just like, I get it, you're a bad guy, but like what was that?
Yeah. So there's that.
I guess maybe it's just supposed to be what it is. It's just, hi, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to put a small disclaimer there. We might miss a few other segments. We're trying to keep this portion, just so the viewers know, just being honest, guys. We're going to try and keep this portion somewhat shorter because I don't know how long I'm going to talk about Dominion. So, watch this just be like uber short, and then I'll just be talking about Dominion and go, it's good! And we could have talked about so much more from Raw. But, you know.
So, moving on.
Moving on. Next one we're going to talk about is the Sami Zayn Bobby Lashley segment, where Bobby Lashley's out there, and then Sami Zayn comes through the crowd and
with his bandaged hand,
claiming, showing us these Bobby Lashley inspirational quotes from Instagram. Now, I have Instagram accounts. You can follow it at Athletic Geek 89 on Instagram, but I don't use it, so you're wasting your time.
Raven's like the same way. He doesn't even promote it anymore. And he claimed that he has like these like alternate name accounts that he
Sami Zayn claimed this, not Bobby Lashley, but he claimed he like looked at the inspirational quotes on Bobby Lashley's Instagram
and decided to use some kind of alternate account to masquerade as a Bobby Lashley fan to contact him. And what did he say that Bobby Lashley sent him to some kind of like link to his fan club where he'd pay like what, $20 or something
for a headband?
Yeah, or something like that. And so therefore leading him to believe that everything about Bobby Lashley is fake, possibly even questioning his military history.
Yeah, but the two parts about this segment that made me just shake my head is one, like when he said like I got a link to the Bobby Lashley fan page. They put like a graphic on the Titantron and the subsequent Jumbotron that was in the arena with like the Bobby Lashley fan page. There's Bobby Lashley there smiling, and then that just stayed there. Like abnormally long. Yeah. And then Sami Zayn, said like, were you even in the military? And then Bobby Lashley, takes his jacket off and he's like, all angry about it. Sami Zayn does what a bad guy does. He kind of takes a powder. He's in the crowd. He runs away.
He's like, I don't share the ring with liars.
And then, Bobby Lashley's mad. And he puts his jacket back on. He's smiling. He's doing some pointing like he does.
Yeah, I think he might. Maybe he was almost supposed to maybe do a salute thing. Maybe he was trying to give credit to people. Maybe they're the military crowd. I don't know. Yeah. But he was doing or at the very least, he was giving props to the crowd. His music was playing, and then you're like, they still got that picture up.
And then Bobby Lashley got over his military being insulted, because he's just like, all right, we're good again, yeah. So, there that was. So we go to the next portion of Raw. Now, this thing I'm actually kind of excited for. The B Team won a #1 Contenders Battle Royal to meet the Deleter of Worlds at Money in the Bank for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And the B Team is ironically catching some fire. I know they kind of portrayed it as it was an accident. The Battle Royal rules were once one partner was eliminated. You know,
The whole team, yeah.
the whole team was. So Rhino was on the apron.
Slater had like one of the B team on his shoulder, and he wound up kind of pulling the Terry Funk ladder thing where he knocked the dude's legs in the Rhino. Rhino hit the floor, so therefore he accidentally eliminated his own partner, and the B team wins.
Right. But, which is, you know, like, they kind of, like, accidentally got the win, but still, you know, like, I'm excited for you know, Axel and Bo. They're kind of they're making me laugh, they're entertaining me. Do I think they need to be the focal point of the show? No. But they're making me laugh, and it's kind of, like, cool that they're actually, you know, they're in a storyline, you know, they're not just, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
Hey, here we are. Oh, we're probably going to lose this match. Like, they're in a storyline, which is kind of cool because...
Well, I mean, what would you know, with them not doing this, what would you have expected them to do once they split with Miz? Probably nothing.
Just fade into obscurity, kind of similar to how Axel and David Otunga just sort of faded into obscurity after the Nexus broke up with CM Punk.
Well, I don't know, like Axel, he's kind of like swam, kept his head above water, you know, doing his thing with Damian Sandow, and then, you know, the whole thing with the Rumble, and then
right.
Yeah, so then Bo, I mean, like, I don't know, it's like once his kind of initial thing kind of wore off in WWE, like was first kind of like thing on the main roster, he kind of definitely plummeted a little.
Oh yeah. So, but I'm excited they're doing something with them. I don't expect them to beat the Deleter of Worlds at Money in the Bank, but I'm glad they're doing something with it, and I hope they can keep it up. I hope they can keep some relevancy and look, I'm not Jim Cornette, you know, to where, you know, motherfucker, they're making tag team wrestling a joke, motherfucker. You know, I ain't doing that. I'm not, you know, I'm not him. I don't want the tag division to be just like comedy. But the fact that they can start making the tag team division more entertaining than it kind of was. Because like we discussed last week, there's a good amount of tag teams on Raw to have a good division. Is it going to be as good of a division as it was back in the year 2000? Probably not. But you have enough teams there to make a good tag team division. So I hope they at least make the segments entertaining enough that it's not just filler for the tag belts. That's kind of bottom line this. Speaking of things that we kind of touched on last week, Nia Jax had a match with Natalya Neidhart with Ronda Rousey on commentary, and she's not like most girls, but she didn't act like a bad girl. At least completely did Nia Jax.
It was weird. I guess maybe I overjudged it when I saw, because like what happened was they were competing. Natty did her thing where she like hops over their like runs up their back, and then I guess is going to go for the drop kick, but when she hit the ropes, she hurt her leg and then like couldn't recover. Nia took advantage, did the Samoa drop and won. And then Rousey, I guess Natty wasn't getting up right away, so Rousey came down concerned about her because apparently they have some sort of friendship. So, you know, she's like trying to tend to Natty, make sure she's okay. And you got Nia seeming like she's trying to get in there to see if she's okay. I thought she was maybe being sarcastic at first because that's kind of how she talks.
Right.
You know, but I guess maybe she was actually concerned about her. And then, you know, Rousey and her kind of like lock eyes. You know, they're not too fond of each other right now. Natalya, with the help of the referee and Rousey, manages to get out of the ring and walk towards the back, which led to a segment where she's in the back trying to recover. I'm assuming she's in like the EMT or the medic's doctor's room. You know, she's got like ice pack taped to her leg. She's trying to put some weight on it. Then Nia shows up, and they're kind of, you know, I don't know, like Nia's like trying to apologize for what happened.
But she didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, she's like trying to apologize for what did for her leg, but if you watch the match, it's plain and simple. She just, the way I've so eloquently phrased it was, she just kind of Kevin Nashed and hurt her own leg. You know, no one did it.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was weird that, like, Nia was apologizing for that. But then again, at the same time, Nia was, like, trying to be like, you know, because Rousey, you know, was mad at her. And then, you know, Nia was like, well, we were wrestling a match, which is a fair point. But, so, and then, and, you know, they're both kind of like, at each other. And Natty just kind of wants the thing to just be squashed and over with.
Said she needs some time.
Yeah.
Need.
Look at the adjective, need.
You ain't here to need.
So that was
Kevin Nash reference for those who aren't familiar. And that's where we are with that. I am gonna say, you know, like, they didn't just completely. I'm confused. I mean, like, you heard me go on a tirade probably longer than I should have last week about how I didn't like them kind of turning Nia bad. So I guess it'd be kind of hypocritical of me to complain about the fact that she wasn't acting in a bad manner. You know, a villainous manner, I guess, if you will, baby, in her role on Raw this week. But it just kind of leaves you like, okay, so
what was all that last week? You know, last week you have her kind of, you know, just like basically talking trash to Rousey, and this week she's like, you know, the sympathetic friend to someone.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, I didn't like her doing that, so I guess you know, it'd be, like I said, it'd be hypocritical of me to complain now, but at the same time,
maybe
like,
it's just maybe
okay.
it's such a quick U-turn that it's weird. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting what, you know. I mean, I pitched the idea twice. You know, of like what would have been a better way to do this storyline with Ronda and Nia, but gee.
I mean, I guess maybe it was just kind of just continuing the tension between her and Rousey, and they just found another way to do that, which was, I guess, they have a mutual friend, and you almost in a way have, like, you know, Nia kind of just saying, like, hey, like, you know, she got hurt, you know, this isn't, you know, this is what, you know, this is what you might have in your future, and this, you know, she may be my friend, but, you know, you and me, Rousey, this is basically, you know, what you're going to be dealing with, which is you might get hurt.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm interested. And I complained about it last week when they weren't kind of doing it the way I thought was best, so now they seem to be rectifying that, so I'm just going to shut my mouth. So, which leads to the, you know, last thing we're going to talk about. Again, you know, there was more ground to cover, and, you know, if you want to hear at least my opinion on a segment that we might have missed, just put in the comments. I'll respond. We'll go from there. Just kind of being cautious of time with the new format. This will get better with experience, I promise you. So I'm gonna go to the Kevin Owens, Finn Balor main event, I don't know what the main event. It's the last thing. The main event of the Raw talking, and it's symbolic. It's very symbolic. Having a good little match, and then there's.
How did they get thrown out?
Like Kevin Owens just like kept, which is confusing.
Did he not like? Was it like I remember watching it.
It was like a 5 count thing. It confused me both times. The first time I watched it, and then this last time rewatching it with JC for the review. It confused me why they threw out the match. And then, you know, they started. A ladder got brought in, and
well, first Owens, I think, like he did a frog splash on Finn, and then a ladder got brought in, and then I think he did he do a splash on him there, or did he fall? What happened?
Yeah, he got like kind of thrown off, and then so Finn makes his way up the ladder to do something, and then Corey Graves with the call of a lifetime. I mean, there's there's the Austin. I mean, we gotta make sure people realize the importance of this call. There's the Austin era has begun. You know, There is, good God Almighty, as God is my witness, he's broken in half.
A new day is dawning for D-Generation X.
There's the boyhood dream has come true, from Vince. There's Hulkamania is here from Gorilla Monsoon. But this one is bigger than all of them. You know why? It's symbolic. Corey Graves, as Finn is climbing the ladder, just says, Finn, don't do this. Just grab the briefcase. It can be symbolic. Finn does the coup de grace off the ladder, then goes back up there, grabs the briefcase.
The green one.
The green one. And it was symbolic. And that's about it. And it's just kind of...
It is like a weird thing to say because it's one of those things where it's just like...
Was he trying to give away the ending or something?
To me, it just seems almost like that's almost like a behind the scenes advice or something you'd give to someone, not something you'd blurt out on the show. Because the thing about symbolism is it's usually sometimes not. It's not necessarily subtle. But, usually symbolism doesn't need to be pointed out to you. It's like, oh, my brain works out the math. I don't need someone to tell me that this is symbolic.
Right.
So it was weird for him to literally yell that phrase out. That would be like, hey, jump off that ladder. It'll be fun. Or like, hey, drink this or eat this food. It'll be yummy. It's just not something you say because you already understand that concept.
Yeah, unless you're talking to a child.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe Corey Graves just feels that we are in fact children.
Yes.
We're going to wrap up Raw thoughts right here just to get the Smackdown. Then, again, this one, the things are kind of thrown off. So I appreciate you fans for bearing with us through this new kind of format for this week. And if you guys liked it, we'll continue to do this in the future. If you don't, constructive criticism is appreciated. But that'll end Raw thoughts this week, and we will go on to SmackDown. Hey everyone, it's the Athletic Geek back here flying solo to conclude this edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Nobody else here in the Athletic Geek family, if you will, was able to catch Dominion yet, but I figured better talk about it when the timing was good. And wow, what a show this was. Really, really good show. That's good. That's the understatement of the year. Phenomenal show, phenomenal wrestling. We're not going to waste any more time. Let's get to the review. First match of the night was El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru representing Suzuki-gun taking on Roppongi 3K representing Chaos. And unfortunately, this was probably the weakest match of them all. It wasn't a bad match. There's just kind of some timing miscues between the two teams. It really, it wasn't terrible, but just compared to everything else on the card, it was just kind of eh. But still, I at the beginning I wasn't really sold on Roppongi 3K, and now I'm becoming a bigger fan of Roppongi 3K. I'm not going to give star ratings, I'm just going to kind of give, my feelings and thoughts of what I thought of the match. I thought this was a good match. Or I thought it was an okay match, I should say. Still, though, better than a lot of things you'll see in the wrestling business today. And, truthfully, it's average. It was average, but average in New Japan is still better than, average in a lot of other places. So props to him for that. And Suzuki-gun retained their junior tag team titles. And the next match on the card was Dave Finlay and Juice Robinson representing Taguchi Japan taking on Yoshihashi and Jay White. Lost my train of thought there. Probably Jay White, the IWGP United States Champion, and representing Chaos. And this was a fun little match with Juice picking up the victory when he pinned Jay White and further solidifying his intention of going after the IWGP United States Championship. I've been really high on Juice Robinson for quite some time. He was released from his WWE contract. He was on NXT, and he went to New Japan. He got so much better. I really became got sold on Juice Robinson with his match with Kenny Omega and Kenny's first defense of the United States Championship. And they're doing a kind of storyline right now with Juice where he's just really wanting an act like he just wants a title, a tournament win. He comes so very close, but somehow just doesn't pull it off. He failed a few months ago at getting the never openweight title, and now he has his sights set on Jay White. And yeah, it's a good storyline. Jay White is phenomenal. He's going to be something special for New Japan going forward. But really, Bigga, it was a good match. Kind of just your standard tag team affair. But they're progressing the storyline, progressing more with Juice Robinson and Jay White. So yeah, not a bad match, and hopefully big things for both Jay White and Juice Robinson. The next match on the card was Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii representing Chaos versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki representing Suzuki-gun. This was another good tag match. For those that aren't familiar with Toru Yano, he's kind of the Santino Marella of New Japan, where he's kind of a goofy comedy character, and he can kind of pull out some fluke victories on you. And he's always had a long-standing rivalry with Minoru Suzuki, but now it seems that Ishii has more of the rivalry with, or it has a kind of a storyline going on and rivalry with Minoru. It was a good match. I saw a lot of really cool stuff from Zack Sabre Jr. There was one point in time in the match where Yano was going for a low blow on ZSJ, and he was able to grip his legs together to prevent the low blow and then turn into a hold. Suzuki-gun wins this one. Again, kind of your standard tag match. But still very, very good and very, very good partnership. The next match on the card is a triple threat match for the Never Openweight Championship with Hiroki Goto representing Chaos defending against Taichi representing Suzuki-gun and Michael Elgin, who I might be mistaken, I believe he is still part of Taguchi Japan. This is kind of a rare one because you don't always see triple threat matches in New Japan, so it's kind of something different for New Japan. They're kind of more commonplace here in the States, in WWE, Ring of Honor, etc. But New Japan, they're so rare. It's I believe it's been 4 or 5 years since the last triple threat match in New Japan, and it was a good match. It told a good story. The factor of it being one fall to declare a winner, came into play. Michael Elgin ends up getting the win in this one and becoming the new Never Openweight champion. I criticize New Japan for having too many belts, and I kind of have criticized the existence of the Never Openweight Championship. Because I just don't entirely get it. I've looked up research, and for me to try and explain the Never Openweight Championship on here, it would be the wrong thing to do because I still don't completely get the purpose of it. But on the flip side of that coin, when you have matches this good and you have such good people to hold the belt and do things with it, now it's Elgin, who had a really good match. Goto defeated Minoru Suzuki at Wrestle Kingdom to win it. So I can see the importance of the belt, even if I don't entirely get why it's around. But nonetheless, that's just kind of a nice little sidebar. But nonetheless, great match. I know Michael Elgin's become kind of a controversial figure in the world of wrestling now, but he did a damn fine job in this match, as did the other two. And this was kind of the part of the card where things started getting from okay to good to very good, and it's really building to a picking up the pace and building to a big climax, which we will get to. On to the next match. The IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships are on the line. Evil and Sonata, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, are taking on the Young Bucks, representing the Bullet Club. The Young Bucks have left the juniors division and they are in the heavyweight division as they are going for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, and this match was great. Just great, story being told with Nick Jackson hurting his leg, and every time he's going for like these instinctive super kicks and these drop kicks, he's it's instinctive, but then immediately he regrets it. He can't get like one time he goes for a super kick and he falls back down, and I'll fully admit that the Young Bucks style isn't for everybody. I'll fully admit that in the grand scheme of tag team wrestling, as much of a fan of the Young Bucks as I am, I probably do prefer other tag teams over them. That's not a slight on the Young Bucks. I'm a huge fan. But just due to style and liking other styles better, I do probably prefer other tag teams. But I feel like a lot of old school wrestling people, particularly one Southern atheist with a tennis racket, tends to be overly harsh on the Young Bucks in their matches. And while it's definitely not, some mid-'80s Jim Crockett Promotions tag matches, which I'm not knocking either, Nick, especially in this match, and the Bucks as a whole all year have been proving that no, they're not just people that do a bunch of high-flying moves. They're not just, and I'm breaking my rule of insider terms, so bear with me just 1 minute. They're not just spot monkeys. They are good wrestlers. They use psychology. They tell stories. They do all of this stuff, and yet I feel like they've been stereotyped unfairly, and the proof is in the pudding with this match. It tells a phenomenal story. They do good jobs, telling telling the story of, injuries and, regretting going for moves. The Bucks win their first IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles whenever they win with more bang for your buck is, was said on commentary, the move that made them famous. Big night for the Young Bucks. Congratulations to Matt and Nick Jackson. Great match all around. Evil and Sonata, they'll be back in the hunt too, I'm sure. But it's a very, very good match. Great match. I really enjoyed this one. The next match is a 6-man tag team match pitting the Bullet Club of Hangman Page, Cody, and Marty Scurll versus the legends of Jushin Thunder Liger, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Rey Mysterio Jr. making his debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Rey had this cool lion mark mask on. It looked really awesome. Pretty good little 6-man tag match. There was really they all worked to each other's strengths in the course of the match. Liger kind of not much as I love Jushin Liger, and there's some great Jushin Liger art behind me. Shout out to Matt Miller for drawing that for me. He's getting a little older. He's slowing down, so they were able to work around his weaknesses to tell a good story throughout the course of this match. Rey Mysterio is looking better than ever. Whether he stays in New Japan or goes back to the WWE, Rey's going to be great wherever he goes. They're doing kind of a storyline with Marty Scurll of him kind of doing a legend killer thing in New Japan, and being backed up by the other more bad guys of the more westernized Bullet Club with Cody and Hangman Page. Just good work. Again, it's it's a little bit more like something you would see on a WWE pay-per-view, but that's not always necessarily a bad thing. Everybody looked real good in this match, and at the very end of it, Cody, with a big win over Liger, pins him with the Crossroads. So interested to see how things go with Ray and maybe possibly with a feud with the Bullet Club, or at least that part of the Bullet Club going forward. Maybe we'll have he'll reignite his feud with Cody. Maybe he'll keep from the WWE. Maybe he'll just be I'm sure Marty Scurll and Rey Mysterio put on some phenomenal matches, but really enjoyed this. Wasn't quite as good as the some of the other matches here in the second half of the show, but it was still really, really good and it's worth checking out. The next match on the card is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. It is the Best of the Super Juniors 2018 winner, Hiromu Takahashi, representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, versus the champion, Will Ospreay, representing Chaos. And I really, this match was great. I've been kind of critical of Will Ospreay in the past, feeling, I'm no Jim Cornette, but I've been very kind of critical of his style, thinking he kind of does a little too much without pacing in a way that I would prefer. I will give him credit in this match. He slowed down and he was very methodical. He almost played he kind of played the bad guy in this match, which, kind of surprises me, and that's one of my big criticisms of New Japan is, Ospreay playing the bad guy, and Okada, kind of acting like a bad guy, yet they're supposed to be in chaos, and both of them are supposed to be like the big all-conquering heroes, but that's another topic for another video. But wow, it's just a Ospreay, slowing the pace down, doing, being really methodical and, doing very, very bad guy-like things to Hiromu throughout the course of the match. Pace picks up. Sometimes words just can't describe how good a match is, and we'll really get to that here shortly. But you owe it to yourself to check out this match. Hiromu defeats Ospreay to become the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, and while most of the time I'm not a big fan of how Will Ospreay wrestles, credit given where credit's due, I really enjoyed this match and really enjoyed his performance in this match. So big ups there, great match. Now we are to one of the two most talked about matches on the card. The IWGP Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Tetsuya Naito, representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, taking on Chris Jericho. And this match was brutal. First of all, Jericho came out with this completely new look, this kind of clockwork orange kind of look. It's something completely different than we've ever seen from Chris Jericho. And this match is brutal. He attacks Naito before the bell. There's, Naito's bleeding. There's weapon shots. I mean, and what's funny about this match is at first the crowd is booing Naito. And they're booing Naito. There's a very pro Jericho crowd, but then as the match continued, they started to turn more in the favor and started cheering Naito more over Jericho. It's a fantastic match. Chris Jericho calling himself the GOAT. He may very well be, with just how well he's been able to change, adapt, make himself move with the times. The Jericho we're seeing in this feud with Naito is just different from what we saw with him and Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, which is different than what we saw in his previous WWE run. Chris Jericho, he is the fucking man. And, would I say he's my personal GOAT? I don't know. But would there be a strong argument to prove that he is? Yes, there is. And this match proves it. Jericho gets the win and becomes the new IWGP Intercontinental Championship champion. He hasn't become the belt. How would he do that? He wins the title, reversing a Destino from Naito, shoving the ref, giving Naito a low blow, hitting a codebreaker, and winning the title. After the match, the win wasn't enough for Jericho. He kept beating down Naito with the belt, started whipping him with the leather belt he was wearing during the match, until Evil Naito's cohort partner and Los Ingobernables de Japón came out to chase Jericho away, and it leads me to believe that maybe Naito will start going after the IWGP title, especially with the G1 Climax on the horizon, and perhaps Evil will be going after Jericho to try and get the Intercontinental Championship belt back in the LIJ stable. But great match. Naito, sing the praise of Naito a lot. Naito is still say you could still say he's the best in New Japan. Be hard to make that argument after the main event, but he's still up there. And Jericho, he's fucking Chris Jericho, and he's great. And I'm looking forward. I'm hoping he holds on to that Intercontinental title for a while, just because it means we'll be seeing more Chris Jericho in New Japan. Finally, we get to the main event, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit. The challenger, Kenny Omega, representing the Bullet Club, versus Kazuchika Okada, representing Chaos. And there is nothing that I can say that can do this match justice. Like, you have to watch this match. Like, last year I kind of, it was hard for me to buy into the hype of all the trilogy. I kind of heard too much about, their first match at Wrestle Kingdom last year, and it had such an expectation it couldn't live up to. Their G1 match was good, but I didn't really think it was on the level that Meltzer and others put at. Their match last year at Dominion, to me, was the one that was worthy of all the hype. But not to put too much hype onto it, because that can only hurt a match, but, get New Japan World. Get it for a month just to watch this. This match was spectacular. They wrestled for over an hour, told a phenomenal story. My heart was in my throat, just nerd. Like, it made wrestling feel real to me again. And I know that's like a cliche. It's people kind of like, it made it real. That's not, it was real. And people throw around, and you have every right to feel that way. But, I wasn't analyzing. I was really just looking at this like a fan. I wanted I wanted Kenny Omega to win the title. I wasn't thinking about, what I'm going to say on a show and what, like, the best storyline directions were. I just wanted to see Kenny win that match and win that belt. And when he finally did it, it was just, whew, like, you just felt so happy. Like, I was shaking when I saw it. It was such a great match. It was, it's a good feeling. I had that feeling when I watched AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan both win the WWE titles, just because of the culmination of all their hard work, and to finally, for them, be recognized as a world champion in, to the masses, and for Kenny, the WWE title may not be a goal of his, but being able to be recognized as the, have that seal of approval, that belt, to be the best wrestler in Japan and quite possibly the world, depending on who you ask. It was special. The Young Bucks come out, and celebrate with Kenny and Ibushi. They're forming the Golden Elite, new faction, and I just watch the match. This may be a cheap way out. This may be a cheap way of, saying, like, not giving enough information, but nothing that I can say can hype, can do this match justice. You just gotta watch the match, and it's great. It's special. Go check it out. That's all I can say. Go check it out. It's fantastic. That about wraps up New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion, and yeah, this is the show of the year thus far. The wrestling world's gonna have a hard time competing with a show like this. It was, like the match I was most critical of was still decent, which with the opener for the Junior Tag Team Championship, but everything else was at least good, good if not, spectacular as the main event. Every match was great. Everybody did a great job. Did at least a good job tonight. Especially in the singles matches. It's just great show. And one interesting thing I'd like to point out, or I was kind of thinking about, is in the heavyweight division, every title is held by a gaijin. The tag champions are the Young Bucks from the United States. The United States champion is Jay White from New Zealand. The never openweight champion is Michael Elgin. He lives in America. He's Canadian. Chris Jericho, lives in America, but he's Canadian. He's the Intercontinental champion. And then Kenny Omega, the IWGP champion. Canadian. So all of the champions in the heavyweight division are American. The 6-man tag champions are the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll, American and an Englishman. It's kind of interesting, especially with going forward with New Japan's new president and then their worldwide expansion. It's kind of like, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder, how the Japanese talent may feel about that. But yeah, get a subscription to New Japan World. It's $999 yen a month. It's worth it to watch wrestling like this. I'm kind of critical sometimes about New Japan fans because they kind of sometimes overhype. Sometimes they don't point out the flaws in New Japan, but it's a great product. It's great wrestling. It's worth it if you're a wrestling fan. $999 yen. That's about $10. About the $9.99 that you pay for the WWE Network. It's worth having both. It's great. Go check out this card. Get ready for the G1 Climax that's coming soon in New Japan. Let me know what you thought of the card and everything else that we discussed in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about kind of this this kind of format that we did today. If you liked it, I might continue. If you didn't care for it, well, I'll be sure to take that under advisement. But for JC, who is not here, and be sure to check out his Facebook page at the Deluxe Asterisk. Be sure to check out my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for not just wrestling, but content from all of geek culture. We're just marks. We love good wrestling. We're out. Later. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should end it like this. Goodbye and good night. Bang!